Hi, it's Morten Solvik at Mahler Foundation, and we've just spent a couple of wonderful days here in Bamberg, Germany, to attend and be a part of the Mahler competition, the great conducting competition held every 3 years here, hosted by the Bamberg Symphony Orchestra. Come with me and I'll take you inside this wonderful event. Here we are at the beautiful hotel residence Schloss in Bamberg. Hi.
Hi.
So we're here with Marina Mahler to talk about the Mahler competition. Tell us a little bit about its founding and how this came to be.
Oh, wonderful Ernest Fleischmann said to me one day, and we were talking about competitions and thinking conductors, composers, that he had spoken with his friend Paul Müller, who was the director of the Bamberg Symphony, and they were very interested. So we came and we struck in 2004. We had our first Mahler competition, and it was extraordinary and very emotional. I'd never sat on a jury before. It was very revealing and very interesting. And but through it all, even though it wasn't the jury were not wholly decided, so it was a bit of a battle. But Gustavo Dudamel, the wonderful Gustavo, won first prize, and then we had this big party, and then that's how it began, 2004.
So you've been a part of this ever since. Obviously, you're a lifetime jury member, I think it's fair to say, and
Yes.
we've had some wonderful winners. Tell us, what does this competition do for the musical world?
It is, I think, important because it gives the chance to many young conductors, even those who don't win, to be in touch with and to be okay, to be connected, to meet each other, to meet us, a very interesting jury always, and to be guided and helped and followed through with into the future. And now, if you think how many there have been since 2004, there have been many meetings. So it's very special.
So why Bamberg? What's the special reason for it being here?
Well, it's a very interesting history, Bamberg. First of all, the orchestra agreed to it and generously give their time. Every 3 years, they give us 2 weeks of their rehearsal time. It exhausts them, but they are enthusiastic and energetic. They're a wonderful orchestra. Also, because Bamberg, it comes from Prague. There were two orchestras, Mahler orchestras, if you like, but one German and one was Czech. And so they feel a close link to the time when they began in Prague. Then they came here, but there is a sort of Mahler link in the history. And they are passionate about this. And also the town of Bamberg has become part of it. You know, we have open rehearsals, and when people come and then they want to say, and how is it, and what, you know, it's a very warm, intimate, enthusiastic, and also very peaceful atmosphere in which to listen, to reflect, to be interested and excited new points of view in the music, because we always have a contemporary piece, which is very important, and so and a composer who's also coming in on the jury every time. It's Thomas Adesh this year, who is such a sweetheart and a wonderful composer, and it's very exciting to have him with us. So it's very far-reaching, as it's completely international, and we've had, you know, this year some very interesting participants, two wonderful from China and Poland, and wonderful people from Great Britain, and so we have a lot of wonderful ones.
And what special role does the Mahler Foundation play in the competition, other than, of course, your participation?
Well, it's been a recent role, and the last time we gave a prize for the person who conducted best the contemporary music. This year, apparently, because there were 24 participants, young conductors, rather than the 20, we simply gave a certain amount, and they asked, could it just go to help them manage that instead of becoming a prize, because they actually needed our help. But so now we are from now on a part of it, but of course it's its own entity, and it's very nice to be linked. So really, it's one of the institutions which we are linked to.
So how do you see the future of conducting and music and the competition? Are there any things on the horizon that we might be considering, thinking about?
Yes, we're trying to think how to give let's say, even the 6 people rather than the 3 finalists more time, a longer rehearsal period with the orchestra, because it's very revealing. More comes out when you have more time. Half an hour, 40 minutes, it's quite rushed. It gives you a real impression, but you don't see the development as well. And I'm very happy that we have so many people from all over the world. That's very, very important. But also, some people who don't come through to the finals are absolutely wonderful. And of course, then I and jury members, we can speak to them and we can recommend them. And so Oksana Linev, who won 3rd prize, I thought she should have won 2nd in the first year when Gustavo won 2004. She became really the only woman conductor ever to conduct in Bayreuth. She came now, we spoke, and she also formed the Ukrainian Youth Orchestra. And so she would like to invite one of the young people who didn't get that far, who I think was a wonderful young woman from America, and if not her, then another couple ones to conduct the youth orchestra. And that can happen in general. So you can have people here, well, agents come and they listen to the concert, but then they hear the last 3. But we on the jury, we've heard them all the way through. Perhaps somebody had a good first round and a less good second round, but of course, if there's a glimmer of magic and talent, then we want to hear more, and then we can recommend them, all of us.
This year is unusual because the finalist will only be chosen after, the winner will only be chosen after the final concert. There are 3 conductors conducting the final concert. What prompted that decision, and won't that be a little bit exciting?
It'll be absolutely exciting. And I think it's also because it's one thing to do rehearsal, and it's another to do a real performance in front of an audience. So there's the audience vote, there is the orchestra vote. All of this will be after the performances. And then we, as the jury, we can hear 3 instead of 1, 3 young people in performance. So I think it's a very interesting development. I'm all for it.
What would you say to young conductors who are aspiring to becoming major conductors and to move up through their careers? Any advice? And of course, perhaps one might be to apply to the Bamberg competition.
Also, it's all about the music. Just concentrate on the music, on your own inner musicality and development. And I think that's really the main thing. And I think when people come here, they have to do the same thing, because to play to a jury, whatever, it's not really possible. You have to sort of block it all out and just play the music. And I also think it's important to have a link and an interest in composers who are alive today, especially since it's Mahler competition. Composers, and maybe you have friends who are composers and you work with them, and that will give you a head start, because we do have always a composer, a contemporary, a live composer here with us, a new piece that you can do. And so it's important all your talents come into play.
How do you think your grandfather Gustav Mahler, would feel about seeing all these young people get on the podium in his name?
I think he'd be delighted and maybe a little astonished, and sort of, of course he would have his own favorites, not necessarily the ones who come through. And that I thought to myself, how interesting, because I think that maybe he had also challenging relationships with certain orchestras who didn't maybe like the way he did it, and so that also has to be kept in mind for the jury.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful interview, and for sharing your thoughts here in Bamberg for the Mahler competition.
It's always lovely speaking with you, because we have this ongoing dialogue.
as people float their way down the river. We make our way to the hall of the Bamberg Symphonica. It's a beautiful evening in front of Symphony Hall, and we'll be going in for the final concert and the final round of the competition.
Once we were inside the hall, we could see an overview of all of the young conductors who had been invited to participate in this year's Mahler competition, all 24 from many, many parts of the world. It finally came down to 3 finalists and one final concert in which all 3 of them were to conduct. Here we see the works by Thomas Adès, Bela Bartok, and of course, Gustav Mahler. We crowded into the beautiful concert hall. Thomas Adès was sitting in front of me by coincidence and waited for this wonderful concert. At the end, all 3 of them took their bows after having conducted their various pieces and parts of pieces. Now it was time to meet them.
Congratulations for your participation in, but of course, and being in the final round. And I want to hear just a little bit about your experiences at the competition and what it means to you.
Oh, this is one of the best competitions in the whole world, and I absolutely loved it. I love to be here for the 2 weeks. The orchestra was incredible. They were so willing to give our ideas, to transpose them. Our ideas that we had in the at the desk while working, and we could actually finally hear them live. That was a beautiful thing, and I think that's the most important thing for this competition. And yeah, simply Mahler. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing.
Well, that's
Mahler
a good thing
5.
to say to the Mahler Foundation, but we appreciate that.
No, but
obviously.
simply doing Mahler 5, it's for young conductors a huge privilege to do it at such a young age, as we all are.
Yes.
And to have such an incredible orchestra. So yeah, that's something incredible.
Yeah, and of course, coming here to Bamberg to begin with is a huge honor. I mean, there's so many people who want to be here. You have the opportunity. How do you see things moving forward from here?
Well, things are moving quite beautifully forward. So I'm very happy with how things are going. I'm going to start from the next season also working as assistant the Boston Symphony Orchestra. So this is already a huge step and something to also get to know the Mahler world in America.
Yes.
Which is going to be absolutely new for
Yes.
me, but also crucial for the life of Mahler.
Right.
Yeah, many things are gonna be open, and I'm looking forward very much to it.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and
Thank
all
you.
the best to you.
Big pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for your foundation.
Well, congratulations, Simon, on your competition and this tremendous event, I think probably for any conductor. What was it like being a part of this competition and the Mahler experience here in Bamberg?
First, it's just amazing, I really love Mahler's music. So to be here in Bamberg, it's a Mahler competition with Bamberg Symphoniker, with Mahler 5 Symphony. It was just an amazing experience I will never forget. So really thankful for that.
And you were among many people who came, but you made it into the final round and had even more work, but also more opportunity. What did it feel like being up there on the podium with the Bamberg Symphony?
Just incredible, and first musician was amazing, really kindness with all of us and really patient. It's just a wonderful experience for each of us as young conductor, to grow artistically and humanly with each of musicians. And I think it's the best possibility for us to grow. So, yeah.
I always think of competitions as having this element of subjectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And as Jakob Ruscha explained at the beginning of the evening, this is all about opportunity. not about judgment, because of course just coming here to begin with is an enormous uh, accomplishment. It's even more, of course, being in the final round. What do you envision being some of the consequences or the way you might go forward from this?
For the future,
Yes, for the future.
It's really complicated to have an answer for that. I hope that it will open doors for me in my really young career. I think first the Mahler competition, it's really huge opportunity for us just to be. When I arrived 2 weeks before, I was really unknown, and now I see a lot of people to come to me, just to speak. Yes, I see you, and it was fine, and so just you enter in the world of music in this small world, and I think it's a huge opportunity, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a little more technical question because you have developed your own style. It's a bit unconventional the way you conduct. How did you come up with your ability to communicate through your two hands and arms?
It's really new because 1 month ago I was still with my baton. So it was with a masterclass with Johannes Schlefly with Bruckner 8th Symphony. And the first rehearsal, I was really disappointed about the sound I had with the baton. So I tried without, and it was not perfect, of course. But my feeling was better. And just 3 days before competition, I was, so. It was really tricky for me to choose. I have to take the baton or not, and finally I chose to not choose baton. And I thought it was just instinct. I just want to have this sound, and so my hands do that, and just like that.
Remarkable risk taking because you're out of your comfort zone, right?
But I think competition is for that also.
Yeah.
So I have nothing to lose, so just go. And I was in final, so
then you had a lot, and you had a lot to gain, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the tremendous performances we were able to witness, and good luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Sieva. It's been a big night and a big 2 weeks for you here at the Mahler competition. Just give us just a sense of what it's been like for you these past 2 weeks.
Well, very intense, I have to say. 2 weeks full of music, also, of course, joy, stress. So we were 24 candidates selected among, I think, almost 300 applicants. So for me, it was a great honor and privilege just already to be here in Bamberg and to get the chance and the opportunity to meet the orchestra, to meet the other colleagues, and also to approach to the scores of the great Gustav Mahler.
And what was it like to be on the podium of the Bamberg Symphony and have them respond to you?
Well, it was a great emotion, great orchestra full of wonderful musicians. I still remember the first day of the first round, of the first note of the second movement of Mahler Fifth, and I was just overwhelmed with the giant wave of sound, of wonderful sound, full of power. So really great experience.
At the beginning of the evening, Jakob Ruja talked about the sense of community here, that it was not just a competition, but a sense of family and getting together, and that was one of the most important aspects of this. Even though there was a competition, it's really not about winning, it's about being here.
Yes, of course, but I think in this situation, really we created a lot of connections and relationships with all the candidates. This is, I think, one of the most positive parts of a competition, where some people may think there's only focusing about winning or going through the next round, but there's also great relationships, friendships between other conductors, and of course relationship also with the musicians of the orchestra and the jury.
I didn't ask this of the other two, but how do you prepare for, I mean, you've given the repertoire probably, and it's a fairly long list depending on how far you get into the competition. So we're talking about a half dozen pieces. and many different movements. How does one prepare for that, and how much time do you need?
Well, I don't think there is a secret recipe. I think everybody does it in a different way. We received the scores, if I recall correctly, in the beginning of March. So we had some time. Of course, many of us maybe are already busy with other conducting engagements around the world with other orchestras. So one has just to find the right time, the free time to start to studying. And at least in my situation, in my experience, the last month was crucial to really study as much as possible all the scores, even without knowing which
Right.
score would have been in which round, in which situation. So we should have been prepared for all the music without knowing what would we have conducted.
Yeah. And so when you get up in front of the orchestra for the first time, there are some key moments, aren't there, in terms of connecting to them, expanding your personality over them, and trying to get a sense for what they're going to give back to you. If you have that experience a lot over, a 20, 30-year career, that's something different from young conductors, and you're all young. How do you get into that rapport? Is there anything that you felt was important for making that click and connect with them?
Well, I think the most important is just to listen, not to listen only with the ears, but also with the eyes and with the heart, to understand who you have in front of you, to understand also the musicians, that they're, first of all, human beings. And so they're great people, great artists, but also they can make mistakes, as I can make mistakes. And to have this kind of psychology to create a connection with the musicians, not only on a musical level, but also on a human level. That is, I think, important.
Yeah. And I don't know much about your training, but you have a very, very clear technique, and something that is almost pronounced in terms of its transparency. Is that something you think a lot about to emphasize, or just something that's grown out of your approach to conducting?
I don't know. I think I never thought about it. It's not something that I looked. I think I had teachers that, of course, they focused very much on being not clear but efficient with the technique, with the gestures of the conductor. The most important thing, I think, for a conductor in terms of technique is just to make the orchestra understand what is your idea. Not only, of course, being clear with the time to be together, this is, of course, important, but it's not only that. It's also to be clear in the ideas with your body, with physically clear. So I think that's what I've tried also always to reach.
Because a lot of it is body language, as they call it. It's not just the strokes of the baton, but also what you're doing with the rest of your body. All right, so one final question about Mahler, because this being the Mahler competition, yes, and I being from Mahler Foundation, what's your relationship to Mahler? How could you describe that?
Well, it's a wonderful relationship that has just born, because this is my first time conducting Gustav Mahler. So it's been a big surprise for me, a big shock also to approach in the last months, the first time, the scores. He writes in a very dense way, very precise, with a lot of instructions to the conductor. So it's very difficult to understand what does he mean in some spots and sometimes. But it's been a great experience, and I'm very much looking forward to continue to approach his music and to study his music and to conduct it with new orchestras.
Very good. Looking ahead, Sieva, what do you see? I mean, you're going to get a lot more attention now. So what would you like to have develop out of this? I mean,
well, I think always in terms of music. I would like to continue to make music. I would like to learn new repertoire, to meet new orchestras, create new relationships. It's not about just making the career. Of course, this is a competition that has a lot of media coverage, social coverage, a lot of visibility. So if you do this kind of competition, you kind of are in the spotlight in this moment, and this could help for your career. But for me, it's important to just show who am I and to show my passion for music.
Well, and congratulations again, and all best luck for you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Finally, a tremendous thanks to Jakob Ruja and the wonderful team at the Bamberg Symphony.